Okay, let's talk about ASCII memo fields. Here we have a history by date report. And if I go and run this report, what you're going to see is that ASCII now supports HTML and doc type and many other types. And if you go to print preview, you're going to see that formatting bleed through. So it says span. This one looks right, but these look wrong. So let's fix that. And you can fix that in Impact Report Designer. So let's close down the preview. Again, highlight the report and let's click on design. So here is the report in the designer. Now in the designer, I have a little page layout tab here. It's like a preview. So I go to page layout, and as you can see, we have the span is incorrect. Okay, so what we want to do is find that control. So you can click on different controls. Let's find that history details control. And what's happening is it's not being bound to HTML. So using this control and going over to the properties tab, you may have a different tab highlighted here. So again, you want to click on the properties tab. And on the properties tab, if we scroll down to data binding, expand that. And if we look at it, if we go to RTF, we can see that it's bound to RTF. But if we go to HTML, there's nothing is bound. So what we want to do is click on this down arrow, and we want to bind it to the details field, or whatever field you're using for the memo. Histories, it happens to be called details. So I'm going to bind it to the histories. Now, if I go and I hit page layout, i.e. preview, you can see that it now binds the formatting, and boom, that's the formatting. It happens to be that this one memo field, the user typed it in as 24 point. Might be fine with you and everything else, but I'm going to show you a second way to actually rip out all the formatting. So again, let's go to the columns. And on this history detail, what we want to do is we want to remove the current one that's there. So I'll highlight it, hit the delete key. Now let's come over to our field list. It's a list of all the fields that we have, and there is the details field. Let's find the details field, and we're going to drag it back on. And let's resize it into its place. Now again, if we hit preview here, we're going to see all the formatting in here. But what we want to do is we want to run a script. And we want to convert that formatting to pure ASCII. So again, highlighting the details field, let's go back to the properties. We're not going to go to data binding. We're actually going to go to a script. We're creating a script for this. Now, if I expand scripts here, it shows all the script events for that control. And I want to do is I want to create a new before print event. So I'm going to highlight this and create new. Now, when I say that, or when I click on create new, it actually creates a script here. And scripts are, have an open and a closed bracket. And what we want to do is we want to put code inside of here. Now you can manually type the code if you know it, but I also have the code on the website so you can paste it. I have it on my clipboard here, so I'm going to just take this and paste that in here. So now we have a script that says before print on the details. What this says in kind of rough terms is that get the raw text string with all the formatting and convert, or if it begins with span or begins with doc type, that's all the formatting rules. What we want to do is convert it from HTML to plain text. And in order to convert it, I have a second little script down here. So again, this is the closing bracket of above, and I want to add in a second one. And again, I had that on my clipboard, so I'm going to paste that in. And what this script does, here, we'll just try to make it a little bit bigger here. What this script does exactly that. It rips out, strips out any of the formatting of doc type, HTML, and RTF, and converts it to pure ASCII. So we have this in here now. And let's go back to the designer. I click on script and go to the designer. We're now back where we said we were. Designer. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. And let's go preview it. So I'll go page layout. Ta-da! Now you can see all the formatting is removed. So remember this large fonts, was 24 points. Well, it's not. It's now set to no formatting. And that happens with all of the the memo fields. And in fact, what's cool about this is the users may say, well, I want my whole report, instead of it being in a font, it's by default Verdanda, they want to see it in a different font. So you can actually change and say, let's just look at something that's really ugly here, Broadway font. So now I'm applying a formatting rule, Broadway font, on top of every memo field. So if I go to page layout, as you can see, every one of the memo fields has a format to it. So again, that's done by the scripting rule, and it's done by adding those two sections inside of the scripting engine. Okay, thank you for watching.